Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. You know, I've stuck up for the NFL. I've stuck up for a lot of American companies and other companies, but American companies. I did a very big favor for the NFL. I do favors for all of them. When you heard an American company, especially a company like this, supplies so many jobs that others are unable to do, when you do that, those people are going to go through a big problem when we catch them. And we have you get a lot of cameras up. We already know who some of them are. We're going to catch them. And they're bad guys. They're the same guys that screw around with our schools and universities, the same garbage. And we're going to catch them. And let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
Donald Trump has hit a new rock bottom that might sound surprising, that might sound a little over the top, but it's true. Things have gotten so bad for Donald Trump. Not only are his allies in the media abandoning him, but he is actively banning and removing reporters from his events. He does not want covered the economic disaster he has unleashed on this country. So his meeting with CEOs and business leaders today in Washington was abruptly stopped, and we saw cameramen taken out of the room because Donald Trump is in such a terrible state. We are going to get into all of it, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into that shocking moment, first we have to see what preceded that, and I think the reason why they're trying to cover this up from the media
itself and be just the opposite. That's happened before. There's people that they tend to go after one group or another, but basically it's the other. They go after conservatives, and when somebody stands up and fights, it ends up their business ends up doubling. You can see that. Just a little example. Goya Foods. He was just a wonderful man, the owner and the family, and largely Hispanic foods. And they went after him because he supported me. And this was the end of the first term. And he fought back, and it ended up that he ended up tripling his business. And it's today a much bigger business than it was before. And there are many examples of that. And maybe it's going to be that way with Elon. When I saw what was happening with this, the concerted effort by paid, I think they're paid agitators. And when I saw what was happening, I said, I want to buy a Tesla.
So that is how the meeting started. That is how Donald Trump's town hall started, saying that he would be doubling the price of Tesla, that sales could twax because of him. And we saw the blatant corruption that took place at the White House today. Something we're going to get into in just a second. But it honestly couldn't be clear that Donald Trump's entire focus, while the country falls into a recession, is helping Elon Musk as much as possible. Prices are going up. The market is going down. People are panicking, and Donald Trump's focused on his co-president, which was very clear when he was asked this question right here.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Mr. President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. I've stuck up for the NFL. I've stuck up for a lot of American companies and other companies, but American companies. I did a very big favor for the NFL. I do favors for all of them. When you heard an American company, especially a company like this, supplies so many jobs that others are unable to do, when you do that, those people are going to go through a big problem when we catch them. And we have you get a lot of cameras up. We already know who some of them are. We're going to catch them. And they're bad guys. They're the same guys that screw around with our schools and universities, the same garbage. And we're going to catch them. And let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
President, what do you tell CEOs?
We talked about this in a previous video, but Trump is now threatening and trying to intimidate people for protesting Elon Musk. If you go outside of a Tesla store and peacefully protest, if you call him out, I'm sure if you tweet negative things about Elon, as we've already saw, he will ban you, but maybe the feds will come and knock at your door. I don't say that's outrageous of an idea to suggest I don't think that that's too crazy, considering what we've seen and who Donald Trump has installed at the FBI, the CIA. These are his people, and they are backing his co-president, and they're also backing up to some extent everything he wants to say on Tariff. And it was this clip from Jessica Tarloff, which is what I think led into the complete mess that was booting these reporters out of Donald Trump's town hall.
Maybe it's an ethics violation. Even the strongest allies of the president don't like these tariffs. They might think it's possible to use them smaller levels, 5%, 10%, but the tariff whiplash is destroying us. You look at the market tanking, and I thought Peter Doocy had a great point earlier on today, our very own Peter Doocy, where he said they want federal workers to take the buyout. They want them to retire, but they're sinking their retirement accounts. And Caroline Leavitt is standing up there at the podium, and she's just either she doesn't know how a tariff works or she's lying to the people. She said tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries and a tax cut for the American people. And then a reporter, I think from the AP, so they got back in the room, said, have you ever paid a tariff? I have. They don't get charged on foreign countries. And then she went Trumpian. She goes, I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge on economics. I'll test your knowledge on economics, Jesse.
Go.
Are tariffs a tax on the American consumer?
If you have a tariff on a product, Jessica,
Don't do
what
the
that
yes or
does
no
is
thing.
it makes
Why?
American workers
It's not-
richer.
This is
because
what's
then you
stupid.
buy American and you bring American plants back to this country.
Listen.
That's the point. And every
the
president
point-
has done it. And it's usually
No.
resulted in bringing jobs
He
back.
has had
Did you
the
know
worst
that
50
Richard
days
Nixon
of an American
Did you know that
presidency for the
Richard Nixon
market
literally
since 2000.
The lies are finally starting to catch up to them. Even the people in MAGA world, and especially the business leaders around Donald Trump who helped get him elected, are furious with these tariffs. And it is the reason we saw Trump's town hall abruptly stopped as members of the media were taken out. Take a look.
Bank, they weren't.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've also mentioned rebuilding the American
top priority. And I guess, what's your strategy to lower the overall cost of living, make everyday expenses more?
So you can obviously see the one cameraman dismount his camera. He's obviously leaving the room and the sound cuts out. But you could also see there other members of the media as well. This wasn't just one guy who was tired of hearing Donald Trump speak, although that would be totally fine and understandable to me. No, this was just a mass movement of the media out of the room. See you. They do not want to hear or see. Donald Trump being grilled by these business leaders, which is exactly what was about to happen. It is a disaster all over the place. The economy is tanking as the House is about to take away people's Medicaid. Nothing could be going worse for Donald Trump. And it's exactly what Hakeem Jeffrey was calling out in this clip right here.
But that's not what this effort is all about. This bill will unleash fury on the American people. It will facilitate the ongoing effort that is currently underway. The average Social Security recipient in this country receives $65 a day. They have to survive on $65 a day. But you want to take a chainsaw to Social Security. When Elon Musk and his tens of billions of dollars of government contracts essentially makes at least $8 million a day from the taxpayers. If you want to uncover waste, fraud, or abuse, start there. Don't start with the $65 a day that Social Security recipients receive from their earned benefits, from their hard work. throughout their entire lives? Start there. Elon Musk is $8 billion a day feeding at the trough of the American taxpayer. This has nothing to do, this bill right here, with waste, fraud, and abuse. It's all part of a broader scheme to pass massive tax cuts for billionaire donors, the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, and then to stick working-class Americans with the bill. The House Republican, highly partisan, shut-down threatening bill is an attack on veterans, it's an attack on families, it's an attack on seniors. It cuts funding for veterans, including billions of dollars in funds that will be cut from veterans in desperate need of health care for people who serve this country, who are suffering from painful exposure to toxic substances, Agent Orange, and burn pits. And this bill, before this House, cuts billions of dollars in that health care that is desperately needed. That's an attack on veterans. It's an attack on children and families in America because this bill cuts funding for nutritional assistance that would otherwise be available for everyday Americans to put food on the table. When people are already struggling because grocery prices aren't going down, they're going up under this administration. And yet, this Republican bill will cut funding for nutritional assistance. That's an attack on children and families here in America. It's an attack on seniors, an attack on everyday Americans, an attack on housing, an attack on health care, which cuts funds from things like Alzheimer's research to help older Americans battle these challenges. That's what this extreme Republican bill is all about. It will hurt families, hurt seniors, and hurt veterans.
This is the opportunity to hammer them nonstop all the time. We have to be calling it out, and it is what we are going to be doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.